round to hear stories of the paranormal that are abound. But gather round to hear stories of the strange, the fantastical, the stories of the paranormal, the stories of Jinn. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name's Abdul Karim. Today I'm going to be telling you guys a story that dates back hundreds of years. This story dates back to Africa. You see, there have been Indians living in Africa for hundreds of years. And this took place in what would now become Mombasa. Now, back then Mombasa was a rural area. It was filled with mango groves and things like that. And there was a little girl walking with her mother. She held her mother's hand and she spots this boy. This boy is sitting next to a mango tree. He's got his head in his hands. He's crying. Why? Why? And the little girl looks at the boy and then looks at them. And then looks at her mother and says, "Mommy, let's go help that little boy." And the mommy tightens her grip on the girl and she shakes her head. And the little girl pulls her hand and says, please mommy, let's go to that little boy." And the mother grips their hand and just says, So figuring that her mother knows best, the little girl stays quiet. So they continue walking. And as they're walking nearing home, the mother tells this little girl the story. You see, there's a reason that you should never go to those kids. The kids I'm about to describe, they're very strange, they're very unique, and they're not even human. You see, this story began hundreds of years before that. There was a man, a Hindu man, working in the farms. He had his own farm, and he used to toil day and night. He used to go out into the fields, toil, back-breaking work, and at the end of it, he made a meager living. And he was disgruntled with this lot, because he felt he deserved more. He felt he deserved better. He felt that his life deserved much more than what he got. So of course, he's out to go into town to sell his goods. So he sees this boy crying near the mango tree. He's like, "Oh, why?" And the man says, "I know what that boy is." You see, the boy looks like a normal boy, except from he only wears white. He just wears a simple shawl to cover himself. That's all, one piece of cloth. And his head has got no hair, except from one patch at the back. One tuft of hair that just comes out. It's almost like the tail of a donkey, just protruding from the back of his head. So the man sneaks up behind the boy and grabs the hair, comes straight off the boy's head. And he's holding this that comes from the boy's head. And the boy's like, "Oh no!" He turns around and he's like, What have you done?" And the guy grins and he's holding this hair in his hand. He's like, "Now you're mine. Now you'll do as I say." You see, he had twisted the jinn to his machinations. He made the boy come home. He said, come with me. And as long as he had that hair, the jinn had no choice. So the jinn follows him home and he says to the jinn, "Go out into the fields and do the work." The jinn looks at him with this look, pure hatred. And then he has to do the job. See, the man has the hair. And the jinn goes out into the field. And one day becomes a week. And a week becomes a month. And then a month's become years and years and years. And the man holds the hair. Now at first he would keep it tight on him, jiggle it in the jinn's face like, "Look what I have." But after a while, you know, you're holding some manky piece of hair, right? He's like, "Okay, I'm gonna hide this thing." So he hides it. And he finds a place in the barn. And he puts this hair in the barn. And closes the lid. And he puts it inside hay. So he's got, in a box, in the hay, a piece of hair. And so the jinn's going about his daily task and the man's relaxing. He doesn't have to do anything. He's rich. This jinn works day and night, does what he wants, does as he pleases. He works tirelessly. But when the man sleeps, the jinn searches the house. Silent as a mouse, it searches here and there. It searches for the box with his hair. See, the jinn figured the man was no longer waving it in his face, so he must be hiding it somewhere. And where do people hide things? Well, they usually store them away in a box or something like that. So the jinn had a plan. I would search every day, the jinn thought to himself. So he went every night, searching here and there and here and there, until eventually he saw this old pail of hay. It had been there for a while, and the man had said, do not clean this hay. This I will deal with. And then the jinn thought, wait a minute, I do everything here. I clean, I cook, I scrub the floors with my hands. I do the farm, back-breaking labor in the heat. Yet this one place the man wants to deal with? I know there's something here. So the jinn looks. He looks and he looks and he knows the dawn is coming. The man who's his master will wake up soon, but he doesn't give up. He looks and he looks and he finds it in the hay. He opens it and he's got the biggest grin. A grin that splits his mouth from ear to ear. And he pulls the hair and puts it back on. And then it begins. See, the man awakes and he sees the boy at the foot of his bed. The evil grin looking down at him. He's looking down, watching him. And the man goes to shout an order, but then he sees the hair on the back of the head. And he thinks, oh no. The jinn crawls onto the bed. His motions are not quite human. It's trying to imitate humanity, but it's not quite. His face becomes twisted. His face becomes contorted. It looks at him and he thinks, I'm going to die. And it says, from now on, you and your family, all your generations, they must give me something once a year. To this day, that Hindu family goes to this one place and they give gifts, and the gifts vanish into the air. To this day, generations after generations, these people are servicing because this one man was cruel. Now I'm going to take this story into the modern age. I'm going to take this story into the 21st century. You see, me, my mum and my dad, we went to India. And the driver, because you go to India, they don't just rent a car. No, they always have drivers. So you get a car, there's a driver with it. They kind of figure that you're going to give them an extra tip. And why not? Business is business. So you're going along, driving, and the driver knows all the stops to conveniently stop you at. So we're driving along, and me and my dad get excited. We've got our cameras in hand. We see these temples, and the driver's like, okay, I'll stop them there. We stop in the middle of nowhere. This is in the most rural part of India you can get. We're literally in the jungle. There's jungle 12 feet from us that way, 12 feet from us that way, 20 feet that way, and we just came from the jungle that way. And there's temples there and there, and there's rural people. These are people that have never seen a white man in their life. You see, my father is white, and he comes out taking photos. And this boy walks up to me and my mum. As we're taking this photo, this boy walks up to me and my mum. He says, hello, sir and madam. Perfect English accent. We look down. The boy has a shaved head, except from one tuft of hair back here. Me and my mother exchanged a look. For you see, we had been told this story by our grandmother and our grandmother's grandmother, and so on and so forth. We knew what this boy was, and the fact that he spoke perfect English, in a perfect accent, no Indian inflection at all. He was not rolling the R's, he had any hint of an Indian accent. Me and my mother looked at each other, and this boy started asking us questions. We ran from there. Of course, this was before I was a Muslim, so now I don't fear the jinn. But we ran from there. We took our dad, grabbed him by the arm, got in the rental car, slammed a hand on the seat to the driver and said, "Come on, we gotta go now!" So the driver's like, "What the f-?" He puts the car in gear, we rev and drive off. And as we're driving off, we see the little boy watching us with a grin on his face. That was one of the strangest things I've ever seen. So ladies and gentlemen, join us next time on Jinn Stories. We'll be sharing more of the weird, the fantastical. And remember, your Abdul Alameen. Do not fear these things that come in the night. And so come to goodness.